Good morning, everyone. This is Molly Grover from the Dubuque Area Chamber of Commerce. Happy Tuesday morning to everyone. Hope you're starting the day off great. We're so thrilled to offer our first virtual Power Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. Power Hour is networking. It's a powerful information, power breakfast, and powerful presentations. And this morning is no exception. Today, as you listen to the program, we encourage you to use the chat feature. It's located on the right side of your screen to submit questions. You are encouraged to submit questions throughout the program, and we will address them as they come up. So we look forward to seeing those questions come in. Power Hour is brought to us by sponsorships, and those sponsors, there's 5 of them. I'm on Communications, Anderson Corporation, Hotel Julian Dubuque, Statera Integrated Health, and the Friedman Group. And it's certainly my pleasure to introduce our MC today, Mr. Scott D'Souza, who is the second vice chair of the Dubuque Area Chamber of Commerce and has been a sponsor of Power Hour since we started it. It's my pleasure to introduce a friend and a colleague and a chamber board member, Mr. Scott D'Souza with the Friedman Group, the president of the Friedman Group. Scott.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Power Hour, as Molly said, brought to you by the Dubuque Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm excited to be part of the first virtual Power Hour. I think this is really cool. As Molly said, we are one of the sponsors, and I am a member of the Dubuque Area Chamber Board of Directors. As Molly also said, along with the Friedman Group, the other sponsors who make this event possible and have been big supporters of Power Hour: Anderson Window and Door, Hotel Julian, I'm on Communication, Statera, and Statera Integrated Health and Wellness. The Friedman Group has really been committed to maintaining a high standard of excellence and establishing our relationships and trust through this whole situation we find ourselves in. We've been busy the past few weeks helping our clients and our prospective clients navigate through COVID-19 pandemic and just the hurdles that it's presented us. We've been providers of information, and that's what I keep telling our folks. That's really our job today. It's not to sell things; it's to help people through this time. And we've been trying to provide guidance, whether it's protocol for allowing employees back in the workplace or OSHA information about staff wearing masks. It's simple things, and we're all going to get through this, and we will. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're all going to be better for it. So again, it's my privilege to be able to MC this today. Really my privilege to introduce to you today's virtual Power Hour presenter, Michelle Gnida, Area Manager, Master Trainer for Dale Carnegie. She partners with organizations as a consultant, coach, and trainer to accelerate their progress to realizing their strategic goals. Michelle will be presenting for us this morning stress management. We can all use a little help with stress management. The list of stress factors in today's world grows longer every day. People react differently to living in this pressure cooker. Some become aggressive while others become passive or just shut down altogether. Regardless of the reaction, the results are the same. Personal and organizational productivity grind to a halt. Creativity dies and momentum vanishes. Now you can do something about the destructive force of stress in the workplace. Learn to assess your current reaction to stress so that you can stop worrying and start working up to your full potential. Michelle serves on the board of directors for the Grantwood Area Chamber of the American Red Cross. Michelle lives near Solon with her husband Andy and 3 kids, Louis, Zeb, and Eleanor. She is a graduate of the University of Iowa with a degree in business. In her spare time, she enjoys water skiing and competing in local triathlons. She also teaches Sunday school at Solon United Methodist Church for 5th and 6th graders. Without further delay, I'd like to present Michelle Gnida.
Thanks so much, Scott. So Scott is absolutely right. Right now we are in a time where you cannot pull up any social media without seeing something that talks about how what we're all going through right now is impacting us mentally and emotionally. And so, like, for example, today I pulled up the news that you wanted to listen to, right? That's just on my phone as soon as I woke up today, or the news you wanted to read. And one of the first things I saw was signs that you need to be aware of to make sure you're not burning out, right? And every day there's multiple messages like this. And so I can make sure that the chat's working here, which FYI, in order for us to gain the most from this, if you know anything about Carnegie, we're very interactive, action-oriented, so we want to make sure that chat keeps going. So if you could just type in there, what are you seeing right now that tells you that stress is having an impact on people in today's world? So what are you seeing? If you could just jot something in that chat right now, that'd be great. And Justine, are you seeing anything popping up there?
Not currently, but I've got it open and I'm waiting. So if anybody wants to, they can send it directly to the organizers, or if you have the option for the entire audience, send it to that. All right, so we have someone saying people seem less trusting.
Okay, good. Now those aren't popping up yet for me.
That one was sent to me personally.
Oh,
So
okay.
if they, depending on who they have selected. Okay.
Okay, now I'm seeing it. Seeing people become more internal, more reserved. Okay, let's get like 3 more in there. How can you tell? Could even be why you decided to be here today. This will just help me make sure that we're focusing on the areas that you want to focus on here. Oh, yeah. Okay, and then how is this when you're seeing this, right? The stress that's telling you that, yep, stress is an issue right now, maybe more than it normally is. Then how is that impacting your work? How is that impacting your work and your organization? Get a few things in here. You can hear some people typing. And what do you mean by that, Barry, with mental fatigue? If you can we get Barry off mute so he can give us an idea what he means by mental fatigue?
He should be able to unmute himself.
Yes, ma'am. In my role at the chamber, like all the team, we want to make sure that we are, spoon feeding our members with anything that's relevant to not only dealing, but maybe, what looks like post-COVID. So when do you know is enough messaging? When is it overload? And, we always worry that we're not doing enough. And I'm sure most people have that same fear.
Yeah. Good. All right. So we want to make sure then that today, again, this is action oriented. The more we can keep that, I'll tell you, in most of the programs that we're doing right now, that chat's pretty constant. So any thoughts you have, just keep it in that chat so we can all learn from each other. Because what happens, unless we're thinking, then it's pretty hard to put it into action. So everyone jot down in the chat and on a sheet of paper a specific situation that you're focusing on right now that you want to be able to put that stress in perspective, to relieve some of that stress. So I'll give you one of mine. It seems like it's taking longer to do everything right now for me. And so I have a pretty long list to get through. Actually, I can probably even show you because it's pretty close. So yeah, and you'll see it says Monday on it because I didn't get all the way through it yesterday. So I want to be able to not get so uptight about that. So to increase the odds that I can get through it even faster today after we're done. So think of something specific, a specific situation that you want to focus on today. And then to make it more fun, I thought we'd put it in a movie line and have a little bit of a contest. And because I know that as Midwesterners, right, we're honest people, we're totally going to go by the honor system today. And so you can, tell yourself you can score your own quiz here, right, with a movie line. All right, so Justine, we're going to start right on in we'll go right to the PowerPoint that we have here. And so today what we're focusing on is what we already started talking about, is what's the negative impact of stress. We know there's positive also. And then we're going to look at what are some different tools that we can use to help us address these challenges, and then make a commitment to use these tools and principles. So the first movie line, okay, I'm adjusting everything in my screen here so I can see it, is Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. And so I'm going to give everyone an opportunity to jot down in chat, what movie do you think that is from? Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Are you starting to see them pop up there, Justine, too?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
You should be able to see, we've got 2 saying Wizard of Oz, 3 saying Wizard of Oz.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I'm just seeing the organizers and panelists.
Yep, those are the only ones coming through. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's who
Okay,
it's directed to.
All right. And you are correct. It is The Wizard of Oz. I thought we'd start with one that I'm hoping most people know all of these, but start with one we know. Yeah, and it was how we can, one reason I utilize movie lines is because we do remember these. This movie was, that line in that movie was actually 81 years ago. And so movie lines are a way that we can, because they pop into our mind, we can utilize those to help us remember things we want to remember. And so when you look at Dorothy saying this, I'm just going to go back. I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. One of the things that popped out for me is that she is cooperating with the inevitable, right? She's not denying it. She's not saying, yep, pretty soon this COVID-19 thing's going to be over and we're going to go back to the way it is, right? Or it's saying, oh, I wish I could do this or I wish I could do that, right? She's there. She's somewhere, she's not in Kansas anymore, and she's admitting it. And the value of being aware of that, for Dorothy at least, is she was able to find the yellow brick road. And the deal is, if we don't cooperate with inevitable, it's pretty hard to see the yellow brick road. And if you did have an opportunity to get that golden book, that link that was sent to you to download the golden book, you can find it in a few places. If you go to Carnegie.com, then you can see that actual cooperate with the inevitable. Oh boy, I thought I had it is in there on page, cooperate with the inevitable. Sorry about that, guys. I believe the page numbers are so small. It's on page 9. No, it's on page 8. Now I can read it. One thought I always have is you may even want to add embrace the inevitable on it. I know I have a coworker, Nan, who has been with Carnegie for pretty close to 30 years. And right now she has been for about a year running our live online. We've been doing live online for probably 7, 8 years now, maybe even longer. And she has not only made all the changes, she embraces them. And she ends up becoming the leader of these changes. So if we cooperate with the inevitable or we embrace the inevitable. So every time we go through these, then take a look at that situation you jotted down and ask yourself, okay, how can I utilize this to help reduce my stress in that area? All right, so here's the next one. Houston, we have a problem. Right, so go ahead and jot in the chat, where do you think this movie came from?
All right. Apollo 13.
Yep, you betcha. Apollo 13. And does anyone know why it's relevant right around this time?
That's the problem.
Yeah, it is Apollo 13. And actually, it has, what was about 3 weeks ago, was really interesting. It has been 50 years. They had the 50th anniversary from when he actually said this. And somebody sent me a really cool link where you could hear the whole transcript and see some of the videos, and you have to be careful because it sucked you in. And so I naturally fast forward it to this part. And you know, in the movie, there's drama, there's music, they're kind of freaking out a little bit. Didn't happen at all. It was hard to find this part of the transcript because there was just they really just took the emotion and rolled with it. And I thought, wow, there was no swearing, there was no, oh my God, we're way away from Earth and we have this problem where, you know, oxygen, there wasn't any of that happened. So what I took from that there is that we need to be able to, and it's the ancient definition of Stoicism. It is not what you look up right now in the dictionary. It's not what Stoic pops up with that. But it's Stoicism that you get the facts, you weigh the facts, make a decision, and then you act. So what they did in that situation is they analyzed it, they got the facts, they analyzed it, and then they just kept working the solution. Right? So again, on your situation, is there a way that you can work the solution? You know, find it and work it. Based on the facts that we know right now, right? There's no way right now we're going to know all the facts. You can keep looking it up on the internet, but we don't know. Nobody knows all the facts. So based on what we know right now. And that is on page 6 in the Golden Book, and it's the second principle. Well, it goes down the second principle, right, is this process. So any questions at all that are popping up there, Justine?
Nope, we're good so far.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the next one is, I think we're going to need a bigger boat. So go ahead and put in the chat, which movie do you think this movie line is from? Yep, Jaws is slipping in there, no doubt. I love this picture too. That came, 1975, Jaws. And if you haven't seen Jaws, then I'll kind of briefly go through what's happening here. I think his name was Sheriff Brody, B-R-O-D-Y, and he is afraid of water, and he's even more afraid of sharks. And at this moment is the first time he saw Jaws, which back then it was amazing. It looked so much like a big shark, right? Now you watch it and you're like, so terrible though for being that long ago. And so he's pretty scared. And at the end, he just paddles right in the water, right? So basically right here, he's facing his fear. And, you know, right now, there's no way we're going to get out of this without having some fear at some point in time. There's just no way. And our point of view is growth and comfort cannot coexist. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, that's good. That means it's an opportunity right now to grow. So when you look at that situation that you have jotted down where you want to relieve some of that stress, then feel grateful because you found the border of your comfort zone. And so now you've found an opportunity to grow. And if anyone has ever watched Kelly McGonigal, she has a wonderful YouTube, TED Talk on YouTube about stress management. And one thing she says, and one thing they know based on research, is that chasing meaning is better for us than avoiding discomfort. So if we're in a situation and all we're trying to do is to relieve the stress and avoid the discomfort and the fear because it's outside of our comfort zone, that's going to cause more stress and more damage to our health than it is if we find the meaning, right? So right now, Sheriff Brody had meaning here, right here. He wanted to keep his family and his town safe. So he was willing to battle through this fear that he had. That was super scary because he had meaning behind it. So again, find the meaning in that situation that you have. Face the fear. Okay. Oh, and a great book too. And I have it right here. I'm not sure. Let me see if my webcam makes sure I can see it. That I'm putting it in the right spot here. Yeah, there we go. The obstacle is the way. If anyone wants a book summary on this too, then I can send that to you also. It has some amazing examples of how the obstacles have helped us to be more innovative. Part of it's persistence, but part of it is how we approach it. If we approach it as an opportunity, then we are able to innovate. All right, so next principle or next movie line. You make me want to be a better man. All right, so go ahead and jot down in the chat what movie. Oh, not Jerry Maguire, but I can see why you're thinking that. There was actually, I got these from the top 10 or the top 100 movie quotes of all time, and there were 3 Jerry Maguire quotes on the 100. The movie that had the most movie lines from it was Casablanca. So anyone else, any guesses which one this is from? You make me want to be a better man. It's an awesome scene. Fair to remember, no, even though I love that movie. As good as it gets. Jack had a lot of quotes that made this list. He had a lot of quotes and a lot of different roles. And so I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. Yeah, it's a great movie. And in it, Jack has OCD. And he's not a nice man. And he's able to work through it because he falls in love with Helen Hunt's character. And he ends up being a better person. And that's the compliment he gives her. You make me want to be a better man. And it's a wonderful part. And so the point of this, why I jotted it in here is, again, this may be a great opportunity to improve ourselves, right? So when you look at the situation you're in order to relieve that stress, you may want to say, okay, how can I build a skill in this area? So it just shifts our thinking. Okay, and again, any questions, just go ahead and jot them down. I'm sure Justine will just make sure to tell me about this. It's a great movie, too. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Yep. Karate Kid. Yeah. And at this time, too, and I can't remember his name. All I remember is Ralph Macchio. But he was frustrated because he wanted to get on it and learn karate. And and how did you say Mr. Munagi? Mr. Muagi? I can't remember how to say his name either. It's been a long time ago. But Miyagi?
Yeah, they're getting some people in the chat saying Miyagi.
Miyagi. Awesome. Thanks, Molly. All right. Thanks, Justine. Miyagi. Okay. He just kept going through these things he wanted to have him do, and he's like, what am I doing wasting my time with this? And then he realized it was a way to learn the basics and the fundamentals. And so right now, this is an opportunity to go back to those fundamentals, okay? Go back to the fundamentals, hone in on those fundamentals. There he is, 1984. So go back to those fundamentals. Again, build those skills. And here are the fundamental principles for overcoming worry. And there, I'll tell you, in the Dale Carnegie Skills for Success program, we focus on stress management quite a bit. These are the principles that I hear hands down people use the most. It's not the only ones, but it's hands down. So just briefly, live in day-tight compartments. What that means is that, just checking the time here, what that means is that you focus on today, you learn from yesterday, and you plan for tomorrow, but you live in the moment. I've even had some participants say they live in hour-tight compartments. So when they're totally overwhelmed, they know that, all right, this here in front of me is what I'm going to focus on for this hour. So live in those hour-tight compartments. I know a lot of people which there's a lot of people working from home right now. That's what they're doing. So right now I'm focusing on this. Now I have to focus on my kids. There's no way we can focus on two things at the same time, right? So it's been proven. So if we just focus all our attention on what's in front of me right now, then we'll be able to get it done a lot quicker than if we're worried about everything else. And this is common, right? When we're at home, we're worried about work, and when we're at work, we're worried about home. So we need to be present, right? Then, how to face trouble. Ask yourself, what is the worst thing that can happen here? The worst possible thing that can happen. And then accept the worst. And this is a key to this one. We need to accept it emotionally. A lot of times, I don't know if anyone here meditates. I meditate, and that's part of it, is that you just, in that moment, you let the emotion overwhelm you. So you need to accept it. And then once you accept it, then it's like the emotion just falls off your shoulders. And you can start to improve on the worst. You can come up with a plan and start taking action. So those are the fundamentals there. And again, I set the golden book down somewhere. Okay, if you have that golden book, it's on page, I think it's page 6. It's right here. Yep, that will have it. Or if you pick up How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, it's right at the beginning. Okay. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. All right, so what movie is this one from?
I don't know that.
We got a bunch of people saying Finding Nemo.
Yep, Finding Nemo. Yeah, isn't it fun? Yeah, and the thing is with the Just Keep Swimming, there we go, there's Dory and Nemo, is that, and I would love to be able to show a raise of hand, see a raise of hands here. How many people feel like they're pretty hard on themselves? And what happens if we end up being hard on ourselves, we say things like, oh, I should be able to do this. Or just like yesterday, I should have been able to get through that whole list. I should be able to connect with more people in a short amount of time. And what happens then, every time we should on ourselves a lot in our society. What this falls under, if you want to Google it, is irrational beliefs. We create a lot of irrational beliefs, and then we get upset with ourselves when we can't follow through on these irrational beliefs. Like, for example, around Christmas time, I give the irrational belief workshop a lot because we have this irrational belief that Christmas is always happy and everyone's smiling, and then suddenly we have, there's a child who's exhausted, and they throw a fit, or they get upset about something, or they cry, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're bad parents because we don't have this. We should be able to have this perfect Christmas, right? It's an irrational belief, right? An irrational belief. So we may want to think about what are some of those irrational beliefs that we put in our brain about things that we should be able to accomplish. And just remember to do our best, do the very best you can, and just keep swimming. Sometimes we'll get there quicker than others. Okay, but if we just keep swimming and just keep at it, okay, then we'll keep moving forward. Sometimes we'll go faster than others, but just keep swimming. Okay. All right, the next one. I had to stick this one in here, right?
Oh.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, everybody's putting on their field of dreams.
All right, yeah. Yay. Good.
Well, we had like
Yep.
over a dozen people with field of dreams. They were going to know that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Nice. Especially, Dyersville's not that far from here. Yeah, Field of Dreams, 1989. And what I appreciated about this one is, first off, he accepted it, right? And then he took a risk. And in today's world right now, there is no way that we're going to be able to take any action without taking a risk, because we just don't know what's happening. Again, we don't have all the facts, but we can make a decision based on the facts that we do have and then take action. To some degree, there's going to be a risk, because it's crazy times that we're in. And then what was so cool about this, once Kevin Costner and his wife said, and her name is Amy something, but once they said, okay, yep, we're going to do this, then they were excited about it, and they put enthusiasm into their work. And so I know that Justine can see some of the chats. I'd be interested to hear from people. What do you feel happens when you put enthusiasm into your work? So this is one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing anything there popping up, Justine? What happens when we put in?
Oh, we've got
okay.
It becomes easier and you enjoy it. Time flies.
Nice.
The quality of your work is a lot better.
Yeah, nice. Good. So true.
Energy and positive results. Other great ideas are generated.
Yeah, isn't that true? And it is contagious. Molly had said that too. It's contagious. You go one after another. And then suddenly you're not focused on the stress. You're focused on these cool things that are happening. And actually, we're going to get into that in a little while. Okay, so jot down, what's one way you can put more enthusiasm into your work this week? Okay, yo, Adrian. I can't say it. Yo, Adrian.
Oh, instantly Rocky is popping up. There is no hesitation.
Yeah.
It's
beautiful picture here. Yeah, all in. Awesome. Thanks, Justine. Yep. Yeah. So beautiful picture here, right? Yep. Rocky, what keyed into me, why I jotted this one in actually, I saw it a lot here. Let me get my webcam back up so I can make sure you can see this. In the Book of Joy, there's a ton of research that talks about the fact that we are not alone, right? Rocky needed Adrian. He needed Mickey. He didn't do it all by himself, right? He may have been the only one at the ring at the time, but he still had a team. Thomas Edison had a team. We are not built to do things all by ourselves. Okay, so especially right now, it is so important that we reach out to people and we ask for help. I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I'm bothering people when I ask for help. A lot of times. I'm a Gen Xer. If you're a Gen Xer, That is one of our attributes, is we feel like we need to do things all by ourselves. Common attribute of a Gen Xer. But we need to step up, be vulnerable, and ask for help, even if it is just asking someone, what do you think about this? What are you, just talk through it, right, with other people. And it is also proven, if you're somebody that doesn't like to burden other people, what happens when we talk about it is that we release oxytocin in our brain, from our brain, right? And even, I mean, this impacts our whole body. Then it helps us to heal from the stress quicker. So we're healthier people if we talk with other people. So remember, we all need people. Okay? We are not, as humans, built to be all by ourselves. All right, so same thing. Jot down who's someone you can connect with. If you're stressed out about this, who's someone you can connect with? Okay. Yeah, the next one I had to put in, because of yesterday, right? Yesterday was May 4th. I don't know if anybody heard this. Yesterday,
Star
May the
Wars.
4th be with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what's
Got a lot of
popping up,
people saying
Justine?
Everyone's saying Star Wars. One person, Jeff Bushman, said Darth, Star Wars. Apparently he's with the dark side. And we've got in response to May the Force be with you, we have, and also with you. So we've got some good religious people on here too, apparently.
Oh, that's awesome. Love it. Yep, there we go. 1977. Yeah, so it's been a while. 1977. So the deal with this is that it is pretty easy right now to push back. Well, all times when we get stressed and the fear comes up, we start getting defensive and we start having an attitude of this, right? Pushing back. Well, this isn't working and that's not working. And I'm not saying that you can't call to somebody and call someone and talk through the situation, right? And also go with the universe, move with the world, with your working environment. And here's some of the principles that are again, they're in the Golden Book. They're actually my favorite. We've heard a lot recently about counting your blessings. I know I have a grateful folder or a grateful notebook. I don't write in it every day. I did for a while. But now if I go 2 to 3 days without writing in it before I get out of bed, then I can sure tell in my attitude. And when I write in it, my baseline optimism is just so much higher. So find ways to put the positive in you, right? Create happiness for others. Give appreciation to other people. Intentionally fill your mind with positive thoughts. That means take an action. Find some YouTube. I know there's on Twitter, I'm connected. One of the that I follow is the Good News Network, I think it's called. It's something like that. And they do have some pretty cool things that pop up. I know my husband likes the puppy stuff. He loves watching the puppy videos. Why don't we've got a little bit of time. Why don't you jot into the chat, what are things that you do to fill your mind with positive thoughts? Peace, courage, health, and happiness, or ways you count your blessings. Go ahead and jot some ideas down in the chat. Anything popping up yet, Justine?
We've got garden and grow food for others.
Nice.
Dance around the house with his boys, be silly, say out loud one thing we are thankful for at the dinner table.
Oh, nice. I love the dancing.
And pray every night and count my blessings.
Yep. That's one of the principles in here too. It's pray, and it's inclusive, right? Because it includes meditating, going for walks. Music. I love it, Molly.
Talk about highs and lows at the end of the day with my wife. Laugh and smile. Play music that gets you moving.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you know, it's been a long time, but have you ever done that laugh? This one just popped into my mind. Because it is, you know, we don't laugh nearly as much as adults as we did as children, or as most children. Hopefully, most children in our world laugh a lot. But I know when I was in third grade, we used to do that where you lay down and you have someone lay on their back with their head on your stomach, and then you kept doing it. So everybody's head was on their stomach and each other's stomachs, and you laugh. And I don't know if anybody ever did that, but it's really funny, and pretty soon you can't quit laughing. So things like that, be intentional about it, because there's enough a bummer that comes in right now, right? That we need to be very intentional about putting these things into our brain too. It's action we take. Okay, so jot down an action you're going to take on that sheet of paper. I'm going to dance tonight. So whoever put up that idea, thank you. I'm going to put some cool music on, and I don't even care if my kids don't like it. Okay, then the final one. I'm interested to see if people will get this. Yes, Molly, you have it. Not going to say it out loud yet. So how's it going there, Justine? Are other people coming up with any ideas?
We've got a Gone with the Wind with a question mark after it.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone else is radio silent.
All right. Yeah, it is Gone with the Wind. Mm-hmm. And it is the final line in the movie. Now, what's the line most people think is the final line in the movie?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Yep. And that is, FYI, when you pull up lists of 100 best movie lines, that's number one in actually in all the lists I saw is that quote. But this is the final line of Gone with the Wind. And any ideas why it's relevant? Any thoughts popping in there, Justine?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. So really, I went to the Margaret Mitchell Museum, and it's crazy the little bitty area that she wrote Gone with the Wind in, FYI. Another really old movie here. We think, right, that because these actors did such a good job with their romance, we think that the movie is all about the romance. And okay, Justine, what were the couple of answers that you came up with?
We've got Jeff Bushman says every day, every hour, things change, and Justin Stinson shares nothing stays the same. Eventually, everything changes.
Yep, it's very true. Very true. And so, this is, and Barry has bent, not broken, and it all fits into this. Because when Margaret Mitchell was younger, she used to ride, she lived in Atlanta, and she'd go on car rides with her mom and see what was left from the Civil War. And her mom would talk about how some people were able to bounce from that. They were resilient, right? And they were able to come back, and some people weren't. And so the essence of what Gone with the Wind is about is that. It's about that Scarlett O'Hara can bounce, right? She figures out a way, not only for her, but her family and her land, to make sure that she comes back. She's resilient from all the troubles that happen. And so what Margaret Mitchell said is that Scarlett O'Hara has moxie. Today's world, a lot of times we call it grit. And so with all of these ideas that we have thrown together here, with these movie lines, they give you opportunities. These are all opportunities, principles, actions you can take, principles you can use, so that you have more moxie and or grit in the next few months. Right? So go ahead and jot down I'm just really curious, and then we'll take some questions. What are you going to do different as a result of today in order to have more moxie and grit? Here's the next slide. If you choose a specific situation, what's an action that you're going to take to manage that stress? Again, so you have that resilience, the moxie, the grit. And what's the result that you expect? Oh, thanks, Justine, for jotting that question in. Love it.
Let's see. Barry says to set daily goals.
Nice. So, Barry, what may be your first daily goal that you're going to set?
I think I like
To make
the fact that you make a list.
Oh, okay.
So that's my first goal, is to force myself into making a list. I'm very like spontaneous, but sometimes that's harmful versus helpful.
Yeah. Yep.
We've got
Well,
someone
the
saying
list will
they're
help
going
you. Go ahead, Justine.
Oh, Jeff Bushman is saying he's going to start a daily thankful journal.
Oh, nice. Yep. I keep it right next to my bed. And who said that again?
Jeff Bushman.
Oh, all right. All right, Jeff. Good for you. It's a cool thing to have your kids do too, although I have not figured out a way to motivate them to be consistent with it. But what's interesting is when kids are little, if you do it with your kids when they're little, they'll have like a page and a half of what they're grateful for. And then you wait till they're teenagers and they have trouble coming up with 5. So we change. All right, Justine, what else?
Someone, they don't have a name, it just says they're coming from Fidelity Company, but they said they're going to learn to ask for help and learn to delegate.
Nice.
Oh, it's Jenny Noonan. She let me know. Jenny Noonan with Fidelity. And then Michaela Freiberger says she's going to focus efforts towards the positive things and jot those in a journal with her 5-year-old.
Oh, nice. Good, good, good. Good. Any others coming in there?
Not yet.
So I'm curious, Jenny Noonan, do you have a wrestler?
What was the question, Michelle?
If Jenny Noonan has a wrestler, if her son wrestles.
Responding to her. Let me see.
Nice, Scott. Love it. Scott has in here, do at least one selfless act for others every day.
Jenny says no, she doesn't, but she's cousins with Nolan and Aiden.
Oh, okay. Yep. They're friends with my son. Yeah.
We've got focus on how we've connected to amazing people from the Leadership Dubuque class, and how Barry has helped them adapt to their classes so we can get the most out of the class.
Nice. Good. Okay, so does anyone have any questions at all? This is unusual for me. We have 10 minutes for questions. Or any specific situation or anywhere even that you would, if you're looking for specific information, books or videos or TED Talks, anything like that.
One follow-up to the last question.
One
last follow-up to the last question was, I think peer groups are key too, to let you know that you aren't in the boat alone.
Yes, so true. As a matter of fact, that is, again, the Book of Joy here. That's one thing that they talk about in there is the importance of us knowing. Actually, if you've ever read Brene Brown, she talks about it too. Because once we verbalize it and we feel like we realize we're not alone, then suddenly we don't feel any shame, right? It lets go of that shame. The Book of Joy is written by, it isn't so much the person who wrote it. He's on there too. It's Douglas Abrams, Abrams. But what he did is he interviewed the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And he got them together like 2 or 3 times and just asked them questions about joy. And it's interesting because one comes from experience, right? Desmond Tutu, having gone through the apartheid in South Africa. And Dalai Lama, he's way into science. So he has all the science that supports it.
Michelle, what is your favorite book about leadership?
I've tried to answer it in the form of a question like Jeopardy. So yeah, what is How to Win Friends and Influence People? It really is Dale Carnegie's book. And I can tell you why. It's because it's not just what you do, it's who you are. And Dale Carnegie really, when you read the book and you don't just skim it, it's so about who you are.
What was that title again?
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
Yeah, Molly had jotted down here, stop shooting on myself. And Molly, we do have a whole workshop on that, irrational beliefs. It's crazy. But if you Google it, irrational beliefs, then it'll pop up this whole thought trend that's been going on over the last 10 years about irrational beliefs and how we have very common ones in our brain and they really get in our way. And it is very easy to just restate them. So when you find yourself saying, oh, I should, or I must, or always, or never, then I restate that question. And if you want to call, I can give you some examples of that too. It's really good for reducing stress. Very helpful. Other questions?
Let's see. What is the best way to share this information with other people who are also stressed, to kind of like people on your team to kind of de-stress them? Maybe they weren't a part of this, and what are some of the best tips to help your team de-stress?
All right, so here's what I would do. There's, first off, I'd go to that link where you can get the Golden Book off of there because you'll see that. Right, so that'd be one step. Another one, and I can even, if I can get, I know, Justine, you must have an address book for everybody here, right? I could send you out another link that we have videos that we put together since, like, it was in the last month, that are like 2 to 3 minutes where people talk through stories and how these principles work. So you could direct them to that. Another one is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. There's some great stories in there. So you can pretty much, it's one of those books. I don't have it. It's beside my bed. I keep it beside my bed. And this is what I do, is that in the middle of the night, if I wake up, that's how I know I'm stressed. If I wake up and it starts going, then I just open up the book to wherever and I read the story that's on that page. So that's a way that a lot of people have helped, is share those stories that are in the book. So basically what Dale Carnegie did is when he started the program in 1912, so over 100 years ago, the basic Dale Carnegie program. And then he continued to build it and even write the books as a result of what people were asking for. And that's still how we work. We have a quarterly pulse survey, and we do things like this based on the trends, what our customers are asking for. And so he noticed there was a lot of people who worried. So we went to the library to try to find a book that would help people to stop worrying, and there wasn't anything. And so he did a bunch of research and wrote a book himself. So that's what How to Stop Worrying and Start Living is.
Someone's asking if they can get a copy of these slides from today.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm not officially supposed to share. It's something I did, though, not Dale Carnegie. So I'll tell you what, I'll take the Dale Carnegie logo off and I'll share it with you because it's our intellectual property, right?
Wonderful.
Yep. All right. Any other questions?
Michelle, not a question, but could you give the group a preview? Maybe they haven't signed up for Thursday yet.
Oh, for Thursday?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so Thursday we're just going to go through some tips on, and that is more of tips on virtual meetings and how to keep people engaged, and just some of the different things that we can do to make sure that it runs smoothly. And we've been doing free previews. And this is one that we've done, I'm trying to think, at least 5, I'd say at least 5 of these. And we send out an email blast to our area, which is our franchises, Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and a little bit of Wisconsin. And they've filled up, these previews have filled up within sometimes a half an hour, 20 minutes, at the most 50 minutes. So it's been a popular one, really popular. It'll help. It's fun too, right? It's one that you can just take something and just run with it. It may not be a life-changing, transformational moment like some of this stuff can be, but you'll definitely be able to use it. Oh, and just a note, the webinar will be available on the Dubuque Area Chamber website tomorrow if you want to view it. Okay, Justine, what's it looking like?
We've got no more questions at this time.
Okay, so are we good? Let's see, we're about perfect here. Okay, we're about perfect. So
Go ahead,
somebody
Michelle.
else have a question?
No, this is Molly. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say thanks so much, and I sure hope you take some of this and find a specific situation to utilize it. If you want to get back to me, then and tell me what happened, I'd love to hear the results. Love hearing results. So thanks so much. Just by being here today, you've already proved that you're somebody that does have that moxie.
No, I just got to exit, make her quit talking. I don't
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle Gnida. On behalf of the Dubuque Area Chamber of Commerce, great information, such timely information. I think we all really had some takeaways from about doing things, the blessings that we all have, and those are the things we need to remember. So thanks again, Michelle. Thanks everyone for joining today. Really appreciate it. And I think this was a big success. You guys, everybody make it a great day. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good day, Michelle.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you, Scott.
Make it a Chamber of Commerce Day.